Well, good morning, everybody. It's Keith Jamison with Fantasy Sports Insight pod and video series. I am just stoked that we finally have something other than esports. And shout out to everybody doing esports and crushing it. Like, good for you all. But I tried watching myself. I tried playing. Just couldn't get a hold of it. But we finally have baseball back. We have to go to Korea for it, but we do have baseball. And I am stoked to have our two heads of Major League Baseball DFS for Fantasy Sports Insight, Pete Cole and Andrew Berry. Guys, how are you doing today?
Good morning.
Morning.
What's up, guys?
What's up, Pete? How about you, Andrew? How you been doing?
Doing well. Not the baseball we wanted, but it's the baseball we got.
I love that. It's not what we wanted, but you know what? We have lots of Lees and Woos and Kims and everything we could want from a research perspective to make this work. So plan for today is we're going to be going game by game, just going to go over the pitchers, some of the top hitters, the targets. We don't have lineups yet. God, I hope we get lineups before the games lock. But, we should have a decent idea of some of the top plays to target. And, it's just like normal baseball, guys. This is, you target the bad pitchers with good hitters. You stack it up. Do a couple of contrarian things and let the other people make the mistakes. Do you guys, either one of y'all, have kind of just overall observations on maybe a strategy that you're going to employ, maybe whether it's a little different than normal MLB or just based on the league stats you saw? Do either one of you guys something pop out to you guys?
Go ahead. What I did was I looked through all the preseason box scores and I'm compiling together, and I noticed it was a really unbalanced preseason. Like Samsung played the team Lotte that ended up the best record in preseason like 3 times. Like they didn't have any, it wasn't a round robin, it was pretty random in how they played. So what I'm looking at is I'm looking at the teams that gave up the least amount of runs in preseason to kind of look at that for like pitching, and then the teams that were kind of like gas cans that gave up a lot of runs to kind of target them.
I mean, absolutely makes sense. Do you want to just, before we jump in, give a couple of those like teams that were really struggling pitching for us?
Well, the average runs that were given up was NC and Hanwha. They seemed to give up the most. Now, there was one really weird game. One thing that they talked about a little bit was that it seems like they changed the ball last season for some reason, and it seemed like it wasn't as juiced as in the previous couple of years. So offense kind of went down, but it almost looked like, I don't know if they just gave up carrying at the last preseason game, but there was a game that was 15-12.
Oh, geez.
And it really was a complete anomaly because it just didn't fit in with like the rest of the whole preseason. So I don't know if they were just like, you know what, we're done, let's just go out there and have fun. But when actually the game was 15-13, it was KT who had a great preseason and didn't give up like hardly any runs. And then they give up 13 to Hanwha Eagles, who really struggled for most of the preseason. So if you take that out, everything's pretty consistent. But that was just one weird thing that kind of really stuck out.
And you said that those are outliers, but then, I look down, I see Dan Straley's probably pitching. So I think we're going to see some runs. Yeah, if you guys didn't notice, I always stacked against Dan Straley in MLB, and Korean baseball is going to be no difference for me. Pete, how about you? What observations are you seeing, between the leagues, or maybe a strategy that you're going to employ?
One thing I did notice is that there isn't that much of a difference between MLB and KBO. KBO is a little bit more offense friendly. They averaged like 9.1 runs a game last year. So it looks like you're going to see a lot of anything between 8.5 to probably 12.5 for your over-unders. And so it's almost like you're going to be looking at either like Coors games, or if you got teams with stud pitchers or scoring games.
Yeah.
You got good pitchers being good and bad pitchers being bad at the back rotation, I think, pretty much you're going to see.
I mean, that's just standard baseball for us is, try to stay away from the good pitchers and target the bad. And, so you guys will see as we go over the totals, everything's above 8.5 on the odds that just came out. Our highest total is 9. And like Pete said, and Andrew kind of alluded to, maybe we have some of these blowout games going forward. So I think at this point, let's just jump into the games and kind of get some cadence here. So we're going to start off. The first game is the Hanwha Eagles at SK. Oh, man. I can't even read my own writing. Wyverns. SK is a minus 137 favorite at home. They have Nick Kingham, former Pirate great, facing Warwick Suppold, 8.5 total. Who wants to kick off? Which team do we have? I'll let Pete.
I got the Eagles. They
Okay.
last year they were ninth, ended up in ninth place, so second to last. So they're obviously not one of the better teams. They're 56-85. They average 4 runs a game. 30 games below 500. So they've also had one winning season in the last 11 years.
Yeah. Sounds like the Pirates.
Exactly. And they don't have, I want to notice or mention right away is you're going to see a lot of foreign players. So I wouldn't just because of name recognition run right out and pick these guys for your lineup. They each team can have 3 foreign players on their team and two are pitchers. So you see American names familiar with, I just don't throw them in your lineup because Eagles American is Jared Hoying. I think he was an ex-Ranger, if I remember right. But he's been in the league for 2 years with a slash 296, 355, and 519. So he's probably their best player at $4,600 for DK. That's Jared Hoying. And my value pick for the Eagles is, and please pardon my language, was Jai Hung Choi. He's a catcher.
Okay.
At $2,800. So he's less than 3K, and that's not bad for a guy with 362 WOBA last year.
Yeah, I mean, punting catcher has always been kind of a play. On the pitcher, Warwick Suppold, righty, 12-11, 3.51 ERA last year. Somebody that you think is playable?
Yeah, he probably is one of the top value. I think it was 6,500.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, he had like 3 or 4 decent seasons in Detroit, 4.90 ERA. I would probably say he's safe value. He is, I guess, he's considered the workhorse in the league. Okay. He goes into 6 innings. And one thing I did notice, very few pitchers go into the 6th inning.
Right.
So if you see a pitcher go into 6th inning, you can get some innings out of him, possibly some Ks. He's got ERA between around 3.93. And last year, the league MVP was the only pitcher had more innings. That was Josh Lindblom, who's now with the Brewers.
Okay. So definitely in play. Andrew, how about SK?
He can work deep in the games.
Yeah. Andrew, how about a SK? Let's start out with Nick Kingham. Somebody that you're interested in?
Possibly. Neither one of these actually probably might be interested in because neither one of these teams scored, like I said, a lot of runs in the preseason. Hanwha only scored a total of 11 runs in all the games except for the 13-run output in the last game. So you take that out, and their run differential is like negative 1.33, and SK's run differential was negative 1.67. So you're probably talking SK's preseason record was 2-4, and Hanwha's was 0-4-2 because they had 2 ties. So maybe not a lot of offense coming up here, but so which would be good for pitching, definitely.
Yeah. What about the hitting side? Anybody stand out?
I definitely like Romack. He should be batting 4th, playing first base. He had 2 home runs in the preseason, 6 RBIs. Not bad there. Let's see if anybody else really stands out. A couple of New Soo Kang. He should, left-hander, center fielder, should be leading off. He had a stolen base, a couple steal attempts. So, I mean, there might be some speed up top there. Those are the 2 that.
What's his price?
Good question.
Just with all these Kings and Lees, if we give a price, that might be a little bit easier for people to track him down.
He's 3,900, I believe.
3,900. So for leadoff, that's not bad on the one of the 3rd biggest favorite on the slate. All right, so I think that kind of wraps up that game. Let's move to the next one, which I've alluded to is my Dan Straley game. We've got the Lot Giants at the KT Wiz, Dan Straley versus Adrianos Despagne. So 2 former MLB guys that for a lot of us, we have seen in MLB DFS. Let's start off on the visitor side with the lot Giants. Pete, are you going to be pitching Dan Straley?
I'm not a dead Shirley fan, but also that salary of $7,000. He's another guy. I guess the only thing that worries me is there's been some rumors of injuries in the spring, so that's why I think they were holding off on announcing him starting. So I'm up in the air. I wouldn't say I'm not going to play him in some, but he's not going to be in my main lineup. No.
Okay, good, because I'm going to probably be stacking against him. So how about though on the hitting side for a lot? Anybody stand out?
Yeah, one player stands out. I got the second baseman, Chi Hong An, AHN. He looks like he came over from Kia. He led them in bat in the last 2 years, batting average of 315 and 342, and he's only $3,100. Also back-to-back 20 home run seasons. So that's not bad for a second baseman for $3,100. That's Chi Hong An.
Yeah, and Despaigne, it's gotten blown up multiple, whether it was in the minors or in the big leagues, he kind of was a guy that you could target against. So I like that.
They also have their first baseman is Dae-Ho Lee, $4,000. He went to the MLB for 1 year, 2016. He came back for I think it was the largest deal in KBO history. And he was a big star there. His bat faded a bit last year, but he still matched 37 homers with a 987 OPS. So, he's not –
for 4K. Jeez.
Yes, for 4K, it's not too bad. He's not – I guess he's not the player he was. But still, I'll take a player with 37 homers, 97 OPS.
For sure. And this is the highest total of the slate. I know it's not huge, but this is the only game that I found over 9. The other ones were all settling at 8.5 when the odds first came out. How about on the KT Wiz? That has to be the best name. But on the Wiz, Andrew, who are you looking at?
I really like their leadoff batter, Siwoo Jun. I believe he's only like 29 as shortstop. He had multiple triples, multiple stolen bases, and multiple doubles in the preseason. So there's a guy that's getting consistent extra base hits, hitting consistently. Looked really good.
Yeah, I think that's great. And so what about the big guys for KT? So like when I just did a baseline pull up, I saw three kind of, it looks like the 3, 4, 5 guys or their 2 through 4 were all in the top 10 in batting average. You have interest in the stack or the likes of Rojas,
definitely Rojas. He had multiple home runs in the preseason. Park Kai-Su, was he in your stack? I think he's number 3. Yeah, definitely like him also. So yeah, you could go on DK. You probably go 1 through 5, or you could go 1, 3, 4, 5. However, fit your build there.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was looking at a little bit. Also, fueled by my Dan Straley hate. But just keep in mind, as somebody that's stacked against Dan Straley many times, he's reverse splits. The lefties hit him hard, but righties kill him. So just look at that. Don't veer away from the righties, I'd say. But so KTW definitely is stackable, right, Andrew?
Oh, absolutely, yes, definitely.
Fantastic. So let's go to the third. Oh, and Adriano Despaigne. Any interest?
As a pitcher?
Starting pitcher.
I'm not sure about that because Lotte actually scored the most runs. They had 46 runs in the preseason. They averaged 7.67 runs per game. Their run differential was 4.17. So, and beyond the starter, their bullpen was pretty decent, and they did have quite a few saves. So, once they get past Straley, we'll see. So,
where's this game being played?
I have
Korea.
at Keith. We'll go ahead, Andrew.
It's being played in Korea.
Because I have Latte as having the worst home record last year, and they lost by 2 or more games in 33 of the 42 games.
Oh, it's at KT for what it's worth. So I guess KT gets to put up the random signs of the people or the what was it, the mannequins and
the plaque. Yeah, I guess exactly.
Good stuff. All right, let's move on to the third game of the slate. We've got the NC Dinos at Samsung Lions. I have actually the NC Dinos as a away team is the largest favorite on the slate, just slightly at -156. 8.5 total. We've got Drew Rosiski at 9,100 for NC Dinos versus Baek Jun Hoon. All you people that want to butcher my pronunciation, just go for it. I'll take it. But so Drew Rosiski, 9,100, Pete, for NC Dinos. Do we have interest?
No, I really, honestly, I really don't have him on my list. But I mean, he had a solid season last year. I mean, ERA 3, 6 Ks per 9 innings, to 2.3 walks. So I guess it's the price I really don't like. His price is 9,100. So I think you can go a little bit lower to get somebody just as solid or good.
And I think that's going to be a trend. Like, it's kind of what I'm seeing too. Like, even though these ERAs are great, like if we're not going to get the strikeouts, especially on DK scoring, these sours are going to kill you, especially with all these hitters. So I agree completely there. Right. What about on the hitting side?
All right, they are kind of ramped up to be my team of the day. Really, they're a decent team. I mean, they came in 5th last year, went to the wild card game, got beat, but they have my probably favorite play of the day. That's the catcher, Wei Jian, I guess it's called.
Yeah, 4,500.
He's a stud catcher of the league. Looking at advanced, I mean, he was the best position player in the KBO last year, according to advanced metrics. He's just /9 354, 438, 574, 20 home runs, more walks than Ks. So he's just a great all-around catcher. And he gets a mediocre lefty. So
yeah,
he's probably,
and he gets the catcher discount.
And he's probably my main player on every one of my lineups. And I got 2 more players in Aaron Alter. Probably anybody that plays DFS might recognize that name. He was a budding star in Philadelphia. Obviously, fell on his face. Now he's trying to recoup in KBO. So he's somebody you might want to. 5,200 though. I mean, he's up there with some of the stars, but he may be a quiet name. And also, probably my dark horse of the day at $3,000. His name is Sung Bum Na. He's an outfielder. N.A. He, I think the reason he's so low is he only played 15 games last year. He had a knee surgery. But if you look at the last 4 years, 2014 to 2018, he averaged 25 homers and 107 ribbies a year. So you give me a player at that for $3,000, I'll take him every night. So he may be the quiet player of the night.
I love
Sung
it.
Bum Na.
And then I noticed, and I'll kick to Andrew on this, but Jung Hoon just doesn't strike people out. He had 82 strikeouts in 157 innings. So I'm assuming that's somebody that we're trying to look for, right, Andrew?
No, but I'm on the opposite side with Pete. Again, looking at all the preseason, NC only scored 12 runs the whole preseason. They gave up 36.
Ooh.
So, I mean, they had a good season last year, but they were 1-5. They and Samsung played the best team, Lotte, who ended up with a 5-1 record. Their only loss was against Samsung. And Samsung had 2 other losses, but they all were by 1 run. So, I mean, Samsung was very competitive. They're actually my favorite team of the day. So,
interesting.
So
well,
I might.
Who do you like from them? Because I mean, I think even based on the odds, that's a nice contrarian angle, so that could be great for GPPs. Who do you like?
Well, I really like Solito. He's had some home runs. Third baseman, probably hitting 4th in the lineup today. Actually has some speed. He can steal some bases too. Kim Ji Chang leading off at shortstop. Again, some speed there too. Had 2 stolen bases in the preseason and a couple caught stealing. So that I track those 2 just because I know that he's trying.
Right.
So it seems like a team that's not afraid to like hit and run, manufacture some runs. So.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think so often everybody's just going to kind of go off the odds and go off of last year's numbers. So you might have just hit on something that comes in really low owned. I like it. Anybody else stand out to note, or should we move on?
Like I said, the top of the order, like they have a couple doubles, triples. Everybody in the top 3 except for Ku Jia Wook has multiple stolen bases during the preseason. So like I said, I really like how much they're running. So those extra points add up pretty fast.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
I mean that's 60K right there. So, especially if you get a double steal, now you're really going off. All right, so let's jump down to the next game, which has another big favorite. We have the Doosan Bears at the LG Twins. Doosan comes in at a -152 favorite, 8.5 total. We have Raul Alcantara versus Cha Wu Chan. Alcantara at 8,600. So Pete, I'll start you on that. Is that somebody you're taking a look at?
You had them. You had Doosan playing home or away.
They're away. They're playing 2 LG.
All right. So I'm note just saying CL James. So I thought that was their stadium. All right. They I mean, obviously they're like the class of the league. They're champions. They swept the series 4-0 last year. Their big star is, and you got to pay up for him for 5,100. Jay Ilu, /line 293, 371, 495. And he had 21 homers and 102 ribbies. So he's like their man. He's like the top player. You also have, he's a first baseman. He's also another first baseman on DK, but I think he's also an outfielder. There's the Cuban Juan Miguel Fernandez.
Yeah,
he's even more expensive, 5,400. But he had a big year last year. And I think people don't realize in 2019 they dejuiced the baseball, and because they were getting crazy runs, and even with the dejuiced year, Fernandez, this is elite stat line at 344, 409, and 483. I mean, that's elite numbers. Yeah. So if I remember, I think he led the league in batting average last year too.
Yeah.
So if you want to pay up,
he was up there on like everything.
Yeah, if you want to pay up, he's probably the man to pay. I mean, to me, for 5,400, but still a lot. So, and pretty much I got one other guy, Kun Woon Park at 4,900, a decent OBP of 397. He walks a lot, doesn't strike out. So, they're expensive though. They're one of those teams like playing the Yankees. I mean, there's one of these that you got to pay for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the trend that we're seeing. We've mixed in a couple values already, but the studs are the studs, and you're gonna have to pay for them. But I think that pitching barometer that we're kind of mentioning, of maybe paying down a little bit for the bats, gonna really pay some payoff. Andrew, how about on the other side for the LG Twins? Anything that we see there?
Not super excited about them. They scored 20 runs in preseason, 3-3 record. Nothing. Let's see here. Ramos, first baseman, number 4 hitter, probably had some decent RBIs, but it seems to have a propensity to strike out. So good thing they don't count that against you. Right. Little bit of speed with the guy that should be batting second is Jung Hyun Woo. Their second baseman, but other than that, nothing too special.
Yeah, and I mean, we've already had a lot of hitters in the previous couple of games, so kind of an easy cross-off versus the league champs. So we have one final game, and you guys will be able to correct me if I'm wrong, but from my little research that I did, this looks like the pitching matchup of the day. So we've got the Kenwan Heroes at the Kia Tigers. Kenwan is away, but is a -135 favorite. We've got Jake Brigham at 9,300 for Kia. The most expensive pitcher on the slate, and I think he led last year in ERA, but Hyun Jong Yang was 16-8 with a 2.29 ERA last season. So, Pete, I'll kick it to you with Kenwoon Heroes. Anybody that we're going to try to look, or is this maybe a stay away spot?
Yes, for some reason, this may be more of a gut feeling. This is my team that I'm going to stack as a contrarian. So, I mean, not saying it's a cash play, but I just like their lineup. And I think it's first game of the year. You may not see the pitcher go too deep. Right. So you got some big hitters in this lineup. And one guy that sticks out to me is Tyler Motter. He's 4,300. He played for the Rays, Mariners, I believe the Twins. Yeah. He's a power speed guy. He was a big time player in AAA, stud minor league player. So to me, if you're a stud minor league AAA player, he should probably slide right into the KBO and be a big player. So he's like my sneaky pick at $4,300. You also have the ex-twin, last year's home run leader, the first baseman Byung Ho Park. He's on that team, 4,900. He's a decent player. And then I have 2 value plays that if I'm going to stock, I'm probably going to throw these guys in here. And one's going to be Ha Sung Kim. Now, I'm sorry, I don't know what position he's actually under. I don't have that listed.
So
But he's $3,900, 389 OBP, 33 steals. I think he's supposed to be batting leadoff, from what my notes say. So at that
take
price,
note of
also
that. He has 33 steals. I know you'll love that.
exactly. And do we have what position he plays?
I don't have
Somebody
it. I don't have it.
come up. He should be batting leadoff. And my other guy is Jung Hoo Lee at 4,000. And anybody that follows Korean baseball, he was a rookie of the year 2017, and he's the son of Jung Bum Lee, 13-time All-Star, and I think he was the last 30-60 player in KBO. If I remember right.
You just dropping the KBO stats like that. I love it. Andrew, how about on the Kia Tigers? What do we got?
Well, I definitely like the pitcher. Like I said, I don't know, like his ERA last year was 2.29, which wasn't bad, but he had 163 strikeouts. So, I mean, that's definitely a big stat there. Doesn't look like in preseason that Kia did too much, but there was a game where their number 4 hitter, who is Na Jia Wan, he had a double dong game in the preseason. And I think he hit like 3 overall. There pretty much wasn't too much power or stolen bases and anybody else in the team, but he's the one that definitely sticks out there.
Like it. And, before we kick off this, and we'll do some final picks, but name I started, and I should have kicked to you, Pete, on this, but Jake Brigham, who is pitching for Kinwoom, last season 13-5, 2.96 ERA, but what I really did think was good as another high strikeout guy. So, you get a little bit of a discount off of Yang, and you get the favorite. So I think that could make a lot of sense. But overall, and we're done with the game by game, but I seem to catch from you guys that you're both leaning towards maybe the paying down at pitcher for the most part. Would you agree?
Until we see something, yeah.
Yeah, maybe working a few of these values where maybe you could do like a 1 stud pitcher and a little down, but with all these K, like there's no Max Scherzer and there's no Garrett Cole. Like I would be shocked if we see a pitcher put over 30 DK. So when you have that in mind, but you're still having to pay these huge inflated price tags, maybe it makes a lot of sense to pay down.
Especially when they're going 5 or 6 innings. I mean,
right. Like, do you know, and I apologize for not knowing this, but in Korean, is it any different when they have to earn the win, or is it just get through 5?
It's a good question.
In preseason, they awarded wins with pitchers that went 4 innings, 2 innings. So,
and you know what, guys, I'll add that to the notes on the video, and then if you're in our Discord, we will make sure that we get that for you this afternoon. But we're going to wrap this pod up with just a couple of top picks. So we're going to each do our favorite pitcher that we're likely going to build around, favorite hitter, and then a team to stack, whether it's contrarian or elsewise. So I'll kick it off with Pete. What pitcher you can actually pick? Stack, batter, or pitcher? What do you want to take?
Probably my play of the day is going to be the catcher, and it can be that Wee Jae Young. Yep. The catcher for the Dinos. He's my play of the day. I think he's just his price. He's got a bat. He falls in, and probably, maybe the Australian Softball. He may be my top pitcher just because his price $6,500. He goes deep into games for KBO standards, and he has a chance for a win. So probably Softball is my pitcher, and then Yang is my top bat.
And then what do we have for stack?
Oh, it's going to be my contrarian back. It's going to be the key one. It's going to be, I said I wouldn't recommend that for, playing cash, but I think there's going to be the heroes, or I think they're going to get to the pitcher early.
Yeah, guess what? What we saw in MLB over and over last year, especially at the beginning of the season, those aces were getting rocked around, and the guys that were stacking against them were taking all the money in GPP. So I definitely like it. Andrew, what do you got for hitter, pitcher, and stack?
For pitcher, I don't mind Hung Jung. Like I said, great ERA, great strikeouts. Mm-hmm. But I also might want to pick on only seeing NC score a little amount of runs. Back Jung Hung. I don't like the ERA. Don't like that he doesn't have a ton of strikeouts, but I think that he's gonna get through some innings, and seems like a very scrappy team, and they did well in the preseason. So
10 to 15 DK, and you're set. What about hitter and stack?
Hitter, going back to the same team, I like Solito on Samsung, and I'm going to stack them because NC gave up a lot of runs in the preseason.
Like it. I like it. And again, I like both those stacks. Probably actually are going to come in a little contrarian, given everything. So, because I'm a chalk player, get ready for some chalk bets, you guys. So for pitcher, I brought him up, but I like Jake Brigham. Is on a favorite, high strikeout guy, 13.5 for Kiwoom. So he will most likely be one of my cash pitchers. For the hitter and stack, we're going against Dan Straley, guys, if you didn't notice that. So I love Rojas, 24 homers last year, 43 homers the year before, like Pete mentioned. Definitely sees a decrease in the ball, but he was hit above 300 both seasons. So I think that there's a lot of safety and upside with him. And for stacking, let's just go right back to the Wiz. What was the name of the Vikings guy? Was it Ontario Smith, the Wizinator? I don't know why. But
Yes, yes,
Yes.
it was. Yes.
I keep seeing Wiz, and instead of thinking of the Washington Wizards, I keep thinking of
If
him.
he could stop at the airport, yeah.
How is he not in the XFL or in any of those previous leagues? But guys, this was fun. I really hope that everybody enjoys this. We're going to keep trying to do it. I don't know if we're going to be able to do it every single day, but at least a couple times a week. But there will be content every single day in the FSI Discord. Until the big sports are back, everything at FSI is free. So Andrew and Pete will be dropping core plays and data throughout the day. Please make sure you join. We'd love to have you as part of the community. It's fsidfs.com. And again, if you go to subscriptions, you'll see Quarantine Month. You get a month of everything that we're covering completely free. Andrew, Pete, thank you guys for your time, and good luck tonight.
Thank you guys. Good luck.
Good luck,
All right. Take care, guys.